Hello, hello. I am excited to be here this morning. I hope my printer stops doing its thing here in a minute or two. My name is Jeanette Lowry, and I am just grateful that you're here. I am going to give you just an overview of what it is like to live a freedom kind of lifestyle. Freedom, I mean health freedom, where you wake up in the morning, you feel good, and financial freedom, which a lot of people cannot even contemplate because when you work a 9 to 5, which I have nothing against a 9 to 5, I just knew by age 9 that was not for me. When you have an income that comes in, whether or not you get out of bed, you just feel so compelled to share it with other women, especially you women that works your butts off all the time, day in and day out. I'm going to give you a little introduction into myself, but first, this is a program. It's not a diet. It's not a woo-woo thing. It's not a gimmick. It is a proven program that has been around now for 24 years, and it's got statistics behind it that I'll share the website with you so that you can see all, everything you need to do your own due diligence. So if you would like to ask questions, no more. I will have a QR code at the end whereby you can take a look and get a hold of me. There's also a free PDF health audit for you. So this is not for everyone, certainly, but it is for those women who are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they know there has to be another way. You just know intrinsically there's got to be a different way in order to feel better. Also, you know that with all the disruptions happening and job downsizings, things like that, that it might be smart to get a second income. Why? As a backup strategy. Not that you're going to interrupt your time or create chaos in your life, but you will be able to at least have that cushion. There's a lot of people that are looking for that second way. And I came out of retirement in 2018 because I finally found a company that I knew I could help other women during this transition in our calendar, in our years, to be able to do what I have been able to do over the last 34 years. So if you're open to learning something new, you're not afraid to show up imperfectly, you don't consider being overweight or undernourished financially a sin. It's not. It's just where we're at. And I love that I work with all kinds of women from, you know, the very elite, prestigious professional to like myself. I was a mom at home changing diapers when I started in this industry that I call my freedom income. I love working moms who aspire to be home. I absolutely cherish the consistency and the resiliency of professional career women who are middle-aged. I'll be 65 this next week in April, and I am not afraid to be in my mid, 60s. I'm thrilled about it because I have my health. The wealth would mean nothing to me if I didn't have my health. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But, it's just a different way to paint a picture. I want you to visualize in 6 months, close your eyes if you want to, if you're not driving. In 6 months, what if you had that second income coming in, recurring income, without you being involved with your time exchanges? Would that make a difference in your life? Whether it was 500 a month or 5,000 a month, would that make a difference in your life? And I'd say 99% of people I speak to say, of course it would. Yes. Well, I'm going to show you a simple pathway if you're ready to get healthy, because you're proof of how this program works in our bodies. will be your tap into a new door, which obviously can either replace your income, pay for your groceries, or a special event that your child has coming up, or a vacation for the family, whatever. It will be that income that you can continue growing with time, that you eventually could fire your boss if you wanted to. So think about that as, just in your head, keep that, picture painted. This is just a little bit about me. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I came from a family of 6 kids. I'm the oldest daughter. My brother Stephen, bottom right corner, was born a year ahead of me um, with a mental deficiency. So my parents had to pay a lot of attention to him. So when my next sister came, the redhead in the center, Tracy, I snapped into that mom role. I remember at age 4. By age 7 or 8, I was packing lunches and making breakfast for all the kids, getting us all out the door to the school bus because my mom had to go back to work at that time. I'm now in my second marriage. First one lasted 16 years, 2 beautiful kids, Brian 37, Lexi 30, and now 2 granddaughters that Lexi has blessed me with. I just love to death. Ivy, who's 4, and Piper, who's 2. I grew up in the gym. I was a gymnast from age 9, grade school. I started tumbling, and one thing led to another. National Academy of Artistic Gymnastics came to Eugene, Oregon, which is where I was from. So I was in the gym 7 hours a day from grade school, the end of grade school, 6th, 7th grade, to high school. And then I transitioned into competing for high school, then college. I loved gymnastics. It was the freedom that I loved. But I also got trained without me knowing it, how to eat clean, how to eat protein, and how to invent my possibilities for the future, meaning learning new tricks. I understand mind reset paradigms, new pathways, neural pathways that we have to get if we want to change our future. So the bottom line is I taught then for 20 years after my gymnastics career ended. And today, out of retirement, 2018, when the kids were out of the nest, I love helping women understand their health, take it back. 2, if they're open, show them a way to add that second income based on their health results and their absolute desire for a recurring leveraged income that does not count on your time. So let's take the next one. What would you do? Slides are a little wonky there. What would you do if you were confronted with one of these 4 Ds, ladies? One is divorce. I've been there, I've done that. And I thank God I had a business that carried me through. I didn't have to go back to work. I know too many of you that it's heartbreaking. You might started working late, so you don't have a retirement per se put away. What if you had a death of a spouse and he left you with a mess? I've mentored many of those women. What if a disease, hit the family, whether it's yourself or somebody else, and or the big disruptor, which is already starting to penetrate, is AI, the big disruptor. So if you happen to bump into any of those 4 areas, the big Ds, I call them, what would you do? What would your life be like? I mean, oh my gosh, how would you move forward? So let's just talk about how this money and health, how it kind of weaves itself together with what I am offering. Well, the power of health starts with your body being alkaline. You've got to have an alkaline body, not an acidic body, in order to let the body do what it's supposed to do best, which is function. There's so many things in our body, but when the 40s hit, 1940s, we'll say, think about how much crap was introduced to the soil, to our groceries, chemicals, dyes, additives, pollutants. We're breathing the stuff. We're drinking the water with stuff in it, chemicals. We're putting products on our face that have linoleum and petrolatum. Hopefully, you're not doing that. I stopped doing that. Oh my gosh, in 1990, aloe vera. So, we're being bombarded. Fast foods, boxes, cans, bags that you can't pronounce the first 4 words on the package. Chemicals have taken over our bodies. And until and unless we can rid our body of that toxic buildup, women, especially if you're over 35, 40, when the hormones start changing, that belly fat is going to stick around the gut. And I'm going to show you an embarrassing picture pretty soon, but that visceral fat, that bad fat, stays stuck. How do we get rid of it? Well, it starts with detoxing the body. And I know many of you have done intermittent fasting, right? It's not that. It's that plus nourishment. That's how I teach intermittent fasting. Nourishment with a product that has 100 different adaptogens, botanicals, all of them filtering through your body, acting like a magnet to draw that toxin and push it out through your pee, through the urine. And what happens for that is the fat cells, which are holding on to those toxins, trying to protect our internal organs, they get freed up too. And then you can start flushing that fat. There's a reason why after 35, you say it's impossible to lose weight. It is if you're using the deprivation approach of dieting. It definitely is. I'm going to show you the 3 pillars that you definitely want to incorporate. At least try for 30 days. Nothing to risk. 100% money back guarantee. The company stands by its science. So the power of leverage versus linear income. If you're working a 9 to 5, you're working for somebody else, you're going back and forth, getting paid what they tell you you're worth, and probably bumping up against a lot of glass ceilings, politics, all that jazz. We don't do that in this business. This is about collaboration and helping others help themselves. For that, the company pays you an override on all their production, all their productivity. It's a win-win. It's the best business model I've ever found. And 24 years and climbing, the company has proven itself. So it's not about proof anymore. It's just about having women, especially, put these products in their body. You'll prove it to yourself. I love the doubters. I've had plenty of them who've convinced themselves after the fact. So 2018, when I started, I was inflamed. I had inflammation. I had been a clean eater my whole life, but think I'm in my 50s now. My hormones are changing. Things are changing. And I could not get rid of my belly, period. I worked out 3 days a week with cardio, 3 days a week with weights, just keeping my muscles toned. I couldn't get rid of them. I started on this program January 2018, 30 days. I had huge changes. You can see the inches lost around my waist. I don't have my specs in front of me, my stats, but I look at this picture and I go, wow, amazing. My muscle also started showing up more defined, which is what everybody says. When you start activating that muscle by increasing your protein, which is one of the 3 pillars, your body responds. So detoxing the body, number 1, got to do 1 or 2 day intermittent fast every 7 days during the 30 days. And then the other 5 days you eat. Reduce the stress hormone cortisol, because until that cortisol level is brought back down, cortisol has the fat around our belly, especially the visceral bad fat. it has that fat stay stuck. It's very hard to lose that belly fat when your stress level is through the roof. I'm not going to ask you what your stress level is because I know we all live in a world that is chaotic. It's click, quick, everything's spinning, and we don't really have a lot of downtime. So don't tell me you're not stressed unless you do yoga all day or you've got, your every 15 minutes, you've got a way to center yourself, ground yourself, etc. Fantastic. I use all those tips and tricks also. But I found adaptogens are the answer, which are just botanical plants that adapt to whatever the environment is and makes it healthier. So adaptogens are key. The third is protein. So here's my question. How many of you women eat breakfast? Raise your hand. How many of you know how many grams of protein you should be eating per day based on your desired body weight? Okay, we need to be eating 1 gram of clean sourced protein for every pound of our desired body weight. Example, 150 pounds, 150 grams per day of protein. Okay, I already hear everybody in the chat going, "Oh my God, how do I do that? Are you kidding me? There's no way I couldn't get out of my chair, too much food, too many calories." I get it. It doesn't work that way in this program. What you will find is you're probably going to be eating more. That's what I hear from everybody. I feel like I'm eating all the time. That's the point. With the intermittent fasting and detoxing the body, getting it to an alkaline state, things function better. You feel better. You don't sleep as much. You have energy. Brain fog is released. Your inflammation, which was after my third day, we'll never forget this. My big inflammation story was my right shoulder. Gymnastics, rotator cuff injury, couldn't have it operated on. 3 days, body was alkalined. 2 shakes a day alkalines our body as well, by the way. These aren't just shakes. These are full, nutrient-dense meal replacements. But I was lifting up over my head the bins from Christmas that we were putting away in our storage above the garage. And my husband stopped me and said, "Wait, Jeanette, do you hurt?" It had been 2 decades of me griping about my rotator cuff pain. It was the inflammation and the products. We don't say that we can cure, heal, mend, none of that. It's when your body gets put into its place it wants to be, it operates for us at its peak level. When we have a diseased body, a sick body, an acidic body, it's from the bombardment of toxins. And sugar in the 40s took over our foods. We can't get away from it. It addicts us. And we see that in our health statistics. 3/4 of adults are either overweight or obese. 1 out of 3 children under the age of 12 have prediabetes or are in the overweight category. How did this happen in a country that is so blessed? Well, I blame the government a lot. We used to be able to farm in our backyard and we could control the soil and all that jazz, but not anymore. It's a fast food, drive-through, quick mentality, microwave. It's no wonder our body is suffering. So in order to take back our health, we have to do something because what we've been doing for the past, 60 years clearly has not worked, right? So signs that you are toxic. Are you tired? Do you feel groggy? Do you just have lack of inspiration and energy? You wake up and you just go, ugh. You don't sleep well at night. You're bloated. You feel bloated. You've got gut issues, headaches. Maybe you know that you have inflammation because every joint in your body hurts, or you've been diagnosed with one of those isms or autoimmune issues. You know what? It goes back to what we fuel our bodies with. Period. End of story. Water and clean, nutrient dense food is your combination, your key to getting the body back to a reset so that you can move forward, not with dieting, but with lifestyle food choices that you'll have an abundance of. And if you feel better, why would you go back? Why would you go backwards? I always ask people that. Why wouldn't you continue on? So it's just really simple. If you want to go look at the health, I'm a geek with health and science and all that jazz. So isogenicshealth.net. Go there. 24 peer-reviewed published studies that are done through universities, private scientist studios, and they're done on humans, by the way. And the 30-day reset it's got some amazing statistics, including up against the heart healthy diet and the Mediterranean diet. If you want to see fat loss differences, it's pretty staggering. 2 times the visceral fat loss from either one of those. And it's because your body's working with the stress reduction. It's a combination. You have to do the 3 pillars: the protein, the stress reduction, and the detoxing. That's the magic. So 5 days a week, you're going to eat food. 2 of those meals are going to be the meal replacement shake. When you look at this 240 calorie shake with 24 to 36 grams of protein, satiate you, you're going to feel full for hours. You're not going to crave. It's amazing. And it tastes unbelievable. Lots of different flavors, plant-based or undenatured, whey-based. And we get our whey from New Zealand, where the happy cows are raised, not with steroids or any of that. Grass-fed and seasoned. They're just milked and seasoned. So 2 different things. And then the third meal, you eat a fork and plate meal, 400 to 500 calories, 400 to 600 for men usually. And, all the recipes, they're simple. I mean, I cook maybe 5 meals a week, and that's just because the other ones are taken care of. Even today, after my reset, I do at least 1 or 2 shakes a day. I might do a second shake as a supplement to a workout, a real tough workout, because I want more protein. So it's totally dependent on you. And then we throw in a couple protein snacks between meals. For the intermittent fasting part, it's 2 days during the week. And believe me, we can put this up towards your health profile, your doctor's, but what he or she says, and, make it work for you. So there's an overnight fast, a 1-day fast, or a 2-day. You are drinking this elixir 4 times a day, 4 ounces, so that the magnets are sticking to all that chemical junk and getting rid of it through our urine. So 4 times a day, you'll get 2 protein snacks during this, lots of water. And day 1, you might not feel so hot because it's just like detoxing off of sugar, cigarettes, alcohol. Your body goes through like feel crappy. But you come out the other day on the other side of this, you won't believe. And I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. You won't believe how good you feel. You will wish that you would have found out about this decades ago. I wish I would have. So it's a very simple 30-day. It doesn't take time. It saves you on your grocery bill because the meal replacements are under $4 a shake, and saves you from the grocery store. There's no meal prep. It's very convenient. And you know what? It's something that when you see results, you feel results, guess what? So are your friends. They're going to see and feel your energy through that transformation. So real quickly, we've got 5 minutes left. I can't believe I've been talking this long, but let's see where we are on the side of the earning quadrant, we call it. It's called the cash flow quadrant. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He's awesome. And also Business for the 21st Century. Fantastic book. But he talks about how average people like myself can get to the right side of the quadrant where all the wealth is created. 95% of wealth is created from big businesses, franchises, or investors. Now, how can we, if we don't have a ton of money to invest in the market and earn, dividends, interest, et cetera, how can we participate? What if we don't have big bucks to invest in a franchise concept? Well, as an average person, I can actually start my own business, get results with the product, word of mouth to 2 or 3 of my friends who see my difference, and the word of mouth just spreads. There's a reason you can build a consumer network on highly consumable, reorderable, unique, and emotional products. You can't with average Joe Blow products, which is the testimony behind this company. So if you're on the left side of the quadrant, you're an employee or you're self-employed, you're exchanging time for money. You will never break that equation for wealth generation unless you get an inheritance on that side of the quadrant. And how many years do you want to work, honestly? What if you could compress into a quarter of the time it takes for most people to finish a 40-year career, hopefully with a pension or a 401k or what have you? What if you could compress it in under a quarter of the time to create a walkaway recurring income? Would that be of interest? Because that's what I'm talking about. All right. So here is my QR code. Just go ahead and scan it because honestly, it'll take you to just where you can put in your name and your email, and then I'll shoot you a PDF. And it's basically your health audit called Girl, Quit Looking in the Rearview Mirror. And it's going to give you a health audit. It's also going to give you some information about the 30-day, and you can set an appointment with me, 15-minute call, and I'll send you the information for the next reset. You don't have to, think I'm going to do this to make money. No, this is just about your health first. Okay. So April 20th is the next 30-day reset. And I would really urge you to do the scan, get the PDF, fill it out, see where you're at, and see if this might be a benefit. Last slide is J. Paul Getty, one of the first billionaires, said it the best way. I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own efforts. That's leverage. That's what I mentor women in. So the first wealth is our health. Who wants to grow old with millions in the bank when you can't get on your knees and play with your grandkids or take a trip overseas, with family because your body hurts and you don't feel well? It's a possible way to live, but my choice was not to live that way. And I love working with other women who don't want to live that way either. I really thank you for your time. I hope that you did get that QR code. I'll put it back on right now. And I'm going to say goodbye because we are out of time. I hope that helped. And please don't hesitate. Call, DM, book an appointment. It's all on my website, myname.com, JeanetteLowry.com. Thank you.